Changes in the weather mean big changes for Anniston's outreach program for the homeless.
Temperatures this weekend more like the end of June than the end of September. We'll have the complete forecast details for all of East Alabama coming up. And also in sports, we're going to talk about a new location for the Calhoun County Junior High Volleyball Tournament. EAN Local News starts right now.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Waldrop Manufacturing, metal buildings made right here in Calhoun County.
Good evening, and thank you for watching East Alabama Now, local news for Friday, September 29th, 2023. I'm Katie Edwards.
And I'm Mike Stedham.
Winter is still months away, but the operators of Anniston's primary homeless shelter are already making plans to turn their facility from a cooling station to a warming station. The United Way of East Central Alabama, working with city officials, are using the bridge at Anniston's First United Methodist Church as a temporary shelter from extreme weather. Program Director Kyle Bryan says making the seasonal change is more complicated than simply throwing a switch.
So our cooling station would typically open at 9 a.m. and it would close about 5 p.m. because, again, as you say, that's the hardest part of the day. So that's really what we want to alleviate, is that experience of being out in the humidity and the heat here in Alabama. But for the warming shelter, that's a little bit different. We open at 5 p.m., we close at 8 a.m., so we provide a meal and we provide services throughout the evening.
Bryan says the bridge serves more people during cold weather than it does in the summer. Last winter, he said the center served 172 different individuals and it averaged 50 people per night. This summer, it served 100 different individuals with a daily average of 25 people. Those numbers, plus the extra services offered in the winter, mean that it's much more expensive to operate the shelter during winter months.
While the United Way and its partners cover the major expenses.
The amount of space that we need for the cooling station versus the amount of space we need for the warming station, there's a huge difference. We use the entire gymnasium for the warming station, whereas we just use a single room for the cooling station. So obviously the cost is really exponentially significant.
Bryan says his group is asking the community to help when it can. The shelter has published a wish list on the United Way's website for items that can make the homeless feel a little more comfortable at the shelter.
So some of the things on the wish list that we're looking forward to folks purchasing are coloring books, Play-Doh, crayons, colored pencils, games, different things like that. We actually have a television on the wish list because last year we borrowed a local agency's projector, so we're looking to have our own. So we have some of those things. We also have some hygiene supplies, so we're trying to amp up the offerings that we have for hygiene. So some dry shampoo, some fingernail clippers, some body spray for our clients to be able to use. So we would really love some help getting some of those things.
Bryan says the bridge is at best a temporary response to the homeless problem in East Alabama. A longer-term solution, the Martha Vandervoort Center to End Homelessness, is being planned right across the parking lot from the bridge. And we'll have an update on those plans for you next week.
When we come back, we'll tell you why our local congressman still thinks Huntsville should be the home of Space Command.
For metal buildings in Alabama and the Southeast, Waldrop Manufacturing is your one-stop source. A Waldrop metal building provides the coverage and protection your investments need. They specialize in carports, RV covers, portable buildings, and storage buildings. Stop paying rent for storage. With Waldrop's price per foot, you can actually save money by buying straight from the manufacturer. Waldrop buildings are guaranteed because Waldrop manufactures buildings with U.S. steel right here in Calhoun County. Waldrop Manufacturing, serving the entire Southeast. Give them a call today. This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by Oxford Lumber. Come visit any of our locations in Oxford, Jacksonville, Talladega, and Roanoke.
Congressman Mike Rogers of Sacs is calling for an investigation to determine why the federal government scrapped plans to locate the U.S. Space Command headquarters in Huntsville. Rogers, the chair of the Armed Services Committee, said in a committee hearing on Thursday that the administration selected Colorado for the Space Command headquarters even after Huntsville was twice selected by the Air Force through a competitive process.
It is my intent to make sure that the competition results are honored and that the permanent basing headquarters are authorized and funded to be constructed in Huntsville, Alabama. And during that period of time, the provisional headquarters in Colorado Springs is fully funded until that completion is made. But we have seen some real concerns raised here today. There is no reason to justify what's happened other than, in my view, political considerations. So I'm going to do what my colleague from Colorado Springs, his delegation did when they felt like President Trump had incorrectly intervened, and I'm going to ask the Inspector General from the Department of Defense to investigate this. In the meantime, I intend to work to make sure that no funds are authorized or expended to be spent in Colorado Springs for the building of a permanent headquarters.
The temporary headquarters for Space Command is located in Colorado, and the construction of a permanent facility is pending. An Associated Press report states that Colorado was originally favored by the leaders of Space Command and the Air Force, but that President Donald Trump decided in the final days of his presidency that Space Command should be in Huntsville. However, President Joe Biden decided in July that on the advice of General James Dickerson, the head of Space Command, to build it in Colorado.
Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall says he and the previous secretary conducted separate studies to determine which city was better equipped to host Space Command. Both studies favored Huntsville, and Kendall originally recommended it be selected by the Biden administration. Citing the Air Force study, Rogers said it will cost taxpayers $426 million more to build the facility in Colorado Springs. Rogers and other Alabama lawmakers in the hearing pointed to Huntsville's robust workforce and said they had time to put together a staff during the 5-year construction process for Space Command to be adequately staffed by the time the permanent facility is built. Kendall said he supports the current administration's decision, but thinks Space Command could be operational in any American city.
Ultimately, my view was that the decision came down to a judgment about the operational risk associated with relocating versus the reduced cost of the leading alternative of Huntsville, Alabama. My assessment was that the projected cost savings, together with the availability of potential mitigation measures, outweighed the operational risk.
The U.S. Space Command was formally created in 2019. It prepares military personnel to use defense technology in outer space.
When we come back, a local radio station celebrates a major milestone.
For over 60 years, Oxford Lumber has been servicing our area, and our customer service has always been our main focus. Our customer service is what sets us apart from anyone else. From the moment you enter, our highly trained staff will treat you like family.
To enthusiastically provide total customer satisfaction within a positive and self-fulfilling employee relations environment. Visit us at any of our 4 locations or at oxfordlumber.com.
This segment of EAN Local News is brought to you by WM Grocery, located in Heflin, Wadowee, Roanoke, and in Piedmont.
48 years ago today, a group of Jacksonville State University students turned on a 10-watt transmitter on top of the campus library and began broadcasting as WLJS-FM. This afternoon, one of those former students was back on the air at the station after he helped the others organize it in 1975. Mike Sandifer, now retired after a successful business career and living in Guntersville, says it was good to be back on campus to celebrate this anniversary.
It feels like family. Let's suggest that. To come back and see something that was started so long ago to help out Jacksonville State is still sitting here helping out the students of Jack State and properly representing Jacksonville to Northeast Alabama with their broadcast and all, our athletics, everything that we do here. We do a lot with it, and I just feel good when I walk in here and get to see the progress that the station's making.
Since signing on 46 years ago, WLJS has featured hundreds of young broadcasters getting their first on-air experience. Some, such as Rick Burgess and Bill Bubba Bussey, have gone on to have very successful careers in radio and television. Many others work for radio and TV stations across the region. The station has grown from 10 watts to 6,000 watts, and it streams its programs over the internet 24 hours a day. Locally, you can find it at 91.9 FM, and there's a repeater station in Anniston and Oxford at 102.1 FM.
The no fishing signs around the Jacksonville Municipal Pond today are ironic. They line the bank not to prevent fishing, but to prepare for it. They protect the fish this week in preparation for a fishing rodeo on Saturday. It's a kid-friendly fishing competition being hosted by the City of Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Police Department, and the Alabama Department of Wildlife and Freshwater Fisheries. 2 groups will fish. One will meet at 8 a.m. The second will meet at noon. The event is free to children 15 and younger, and a lunch will be provided. To register, visit tinyurl.com/youth-fish.
And though the poor fish, they think they're getting away with it, they have a pretty good week, and splash. Saturday could be the end.
Saturday's coming for those poor little fish.
It is.
And I think we may have some pretty nice weather.
I think so. Let's check in with John Holder, who's in the EAN Weather Center, to find out what kind of fishing weather we're going to have this weekend.
Mike and Katie, if the fish like a lot of sunshine and a lot of warm temperatures, they're going to have a great weekend for fishing out there. We'll have the complete forecast for all of East Alabama next.
Since 1993, WM Grocery has been a major part of our local community. WM offers the very best in fresh produce and an outstanding meat department. WM also has many local products not found anywhere else and fresh sushi every day. If you need an event catered, come see Mrs. K at any WM store. Curbside pickup is also available for your online grocery orders. Be sure to download the WM app for all the deals of the week and shopper rewards. Go check them out today at any of their locations.
We take pride in our community and appreciate your business.
Temperatures today across East Alabama soaring well into the 80s once again, about 5 degrees above average. The low this morning right at average at 60 degrees. And temperatures at this time of year can be just about anywhere. They're all over the map. Record high 96, record low 39. Sun rising tomorrow at 6:37. The sun setting at 6:31. Weather on your street tonight's going to be another cool start early tomorrow morning. 62 for the nighttime low tonight on the Alexandria-Jacksonville Highway out in Alexandria. Cool weather tonight, and that means another cool start to your Saturday morning coming up across East Alabama. On your Saturday, summertime temperatures. Babbling Brook Road in Piedmont. That's heading out toward the mountains there, toward Duggar Mountain. Beautiful view, one of the most beautiful views in Alabama. It's going to be a summertime view tomorrow. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Probably warmer than today, 88, maybe a 90-degree temperature on the backyard thermometer in Piedmont and the rest of East Alabama. And as we peek ahead to next week, really no changes coming. Dry conditions continue out on Gate 8 Road at Hewletton. If you're heading out to work next week to the Anniston Army Depot, that's a major thoroughfare through there, and it's going to be dry, sunshine, temperatures remaining in the 80s every day out in Hewletton coming up next week. 7-day forecast. Again, we just don't see rain anywhere in the forecast at all. 0% chance of rain for the next 7 days. Highs will be well into the 80s. We're going to stay above average on the temperatures for the next several days as far as daytime highs. It looks like we'll be above average for the next 7 days. Nighttime lows will cool off a little bit. We're looking at some upper 50s coming in by the middle part of next week. But again, the big story is the dry conditions. And speaking of the dry weather conditions, looking at the U.S. Drought Monitor for Alabama, and you're seeing we don't really have dry conditions here in East Alabama, but if you look to the rest of the state, abnormally dry conditions down in southwest Alabama, back over into Mississippi, you're seeing some severe drought, some extreme and exceptional drought. Every day that goes by without rainfall here in East Alabama, we're going to see the chances creeping up that we're going to be looking at a drought situation here in East Alabama. And again, no rain coming for the next several days. Well, coming up next in sports, we're going to talk about a new location for the Calhoun County Junior High Volleyball Tournament. That's next.
Ted's Floors and Beyond is excited to introduce our all-new outdoor living collection. Have you ever dreamed of elevating or even creating an outdoor living space, whether it be for grilling, lounging, playing, entertaining, or just winding down? Our quality tile and stone, combined with our expert craftsmanship, will no doubt create unforgettable outdoor moments with family and friends. while also enhancing the beauty and value of your home. Call us today.
John Holder back with you with EAN Sports. Now, this school year, White Plains is going to be the host for all of the Calhoun County championships in all the sports. However, the site for the Calhoun County junior high and varsity volleyball tournaments this year is going to be at Walter Welborn High School. That's because they have just a much larger facility. You can see the facility here. They can run 3 games at one time. So the junior high volleyball tournament actually began yesterday. They'll take a day off for high school football, and then they will be back at Walter Welborn starting at 9 a.m. on Saturday morning, and they will wrap up the Calhoun County Junior High Volleyball Tournament at Walter Welborn, and the varsity tournament coming next Saturday also at Walter Welborn High School in the Harold Waldrop Gym. So just want to make a note of that as we roll into the weekend. High school football last night, a couple of Thursday night games on the agenda here in East Alabama. One of those games at the Field of Champions in Piedmont, where Gavin Doss had a big night, 12 of 14 passing, 171 yards, had 60 more yards rushing the football as Anniston held off the Piedmont Bulldogs 14-9. Anniston moves to 4-2, and Piedmont falls to 1-9. Right down the road, down Highway 21 at Munford last night at Munford Stadium, the number 2 ranked team in the state in Class 4A, the Cherokee County Warriors, in a non-region game. They shot out to a 28-10 lead at halftime, doubled that score in the second half as they beat the Munford Lions last night 56-10. Quarterback Carson Tittle passed for 2 touchdowns last night, also ran for 2 touchdowns, so he accounted for 4 total touchdowns in that Cherokee County win over Munford last night at 56-10. That's just the taste of high school football that's coming. Tonight, a lot of big games across Calhoun and Cleburne counties. Hoax Bluff at White Plains. Reeltown comes to Heflin for homecoming at the Pit. Oxford travels to North Alabama to take on the Hartsville Tigers. Walter Welborn at Talladega tonight. Sacs will also travel into Talladega County as they go to Sylacauga to face B.B. Comer at Legion Stadium. Jacksonville and Ohatchee on the Creek Bank tonight. Central of Clay County, the number 3 team in the state in 5A. They visit Death Valley at Alexandria. Asbury comes from Sand Mountain to Bill Bryan Stadium to face the Weaver Bearcats. Raglan at Pleasant Valley tonight. And then we have 3 teams in the region that are open. Ranburne, Donahoe, and Jacksonville Christian, all with open dates this week. So enjoy a big high school football game out there tonight. Plenty of games across Calhoun and Cleburne counties. That's EAN Sports. Right now, back to Mike and Katie.
Thanks for the updates, John, and thank you for watching today.
You can find us here online every weekday on either Facebook or YouTube and on our website, eastalabamanow.com. Just go to our video feed and watch us whenever it's convenient for you.
We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here Monday for your news on your schedule.